What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to Elijah for his contribution to the channel. Much respect for Elijah. He's one of the most frequent contributors to this channel, and he's been a supporter of this channel, a real Golden State Warrior fan. Not one of these fanboys that, jumping around, former Warrior fans, some of them now Laker fans, some of them Brooklyn fans. He's a real true blue Warrior fan, and I commend him for that. All right, so look, man. First of all, let me say that I am doing better. The relative that was sick, he's doing a lot better. Um, but this thing is really kicking off right now in this country, in the world. Actually, there are now over 100 million confirmed cases of you know what since this thing has started. All right, and that's less than one calendar year. There have been over 26 million reported cases of you know what since this has started. And unfortunately, there have been over 430,000 official deaths attributed to this thing. Although that number is, of course, open to interpretation, but still, um, I've always thought that they should have postponed this season because all signs pointed to this thing getting worse before it gets better. Okay, um, this thing isn't going away, by the way. Okay, this isn't something that's just going to magically go away. This is a new thing that we're going to have to deal with permanently. Now, hopefully, what happens is as the years progress and we become used to contracting it as a people, as a species, what'll happen is it'll become endemic. And from what experts are saying about that, that means that it'll become like a seasonal illness. The effects of it will lessen because we'll get used to having come in contact with it, which is what happens with viruses. Over time, our systems get used to dealing with it. And over time, perhaps it'll be no more serious than the common cold or seasonal flu. You got to remember the Spanish flu that wiped out 50 to 100 million people a century ago and infected 500 million globally and was so deadly. That's now just a seasonal thing. Why? Because we've gotten used to it. Vaccines and all this stuff. Now, I'm not telling anybody to take the vaccine. I have my trepidations about that as well. Okay, but I just want to throw that out there. Now, as far as the NBA is concerned, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They will not be playing tonight due to the NBA protocols with you know what. Um, Over the past couple of games, Kawhi Leonard has been sensational, averaging better than 32 points, over 6.5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Paul George, when he's in a role that's comfortable for him, when he is in that secondary role without the pressure on him, he can be magnificent. He's been playing well too this season, averaging 24 points, over 6 rebounds, and over 5 assists per game. Um, the thing about me and Paul George is I've seen this before. I've seen him play in OKC when he was playing with Russell, knowing Russell's going to get the blame throughout the media if anything went wrong. And he had an MVP caliber season, averaging almost 29 points a game, 8 or 9 rebounds, 4 assists. He was hitting jumpers left and right throughout the NBA. He was a terror, clutch performer, 47-point triple double here, a 35-point triple double there. But when the pressure's on, that's when we need to see whether Paul George can up it and be upper echelon player consistently. But that's another argument. They're not going to play tonight. The other game I believe it was between the Washington Wizards and San Antonio Spurs. That game, no, excuse me, it's the San Antonio Spurs and New Orleans Pelicans, postponed due to contact tracing. All right, this is the second postponement for the Pelicans this season. Um, 2 weeks ago, they had a postponement with them and the Dallas Mavericks, and that included Zion Williamson, who was feared to have you know what, but his test came back inconclusive, and I think ultimately he was cleared. But this is the reality. Um, I think they should have stayed in the NBA bubble. Okay, you weren't seeing this when they were in the NBA bubble. I know the players probably don't want to be in that situation, but at the end of the day, there are really only two choices here. Either you're going to put them in a maximum protection situation where the risk, as long as everybody's in on it, as long the risk is virtually nil. Or I mean, I know they're trying to do everything to lessen the risk, but we're in a pandemic here. Okay, um, these players are going to do things ultimately that might be against the rules. You know, it's human nature, and this is what I fear. Okay, first of all, I fear this is going to happen more and more, which it seems like it's going to happen. And then what happens then is you're going to have a season. I don't want to say where the champion can be determined, but seeding can be determined by non-basketball related things, like what's going on. You know, injuries are a part of the game. You deal with that. But to have your seeding be decided by, you know, whether your two or three best players are out because of protocol, or worse yet, in a playoff series where the stakes are stakes are high, and ultimately your two best players can't play 2 games in a row because of protocol, and then it comes to find out that they don't have it. How do you think fans are going to feel about that situation, or the players? They're going to feel cheated. I just see a recipe for disaster, not as far as like a player having a bad turnover when it comes to these things, but just I can see from a competition standpoint, from a competitive standpoint, I can see something bad happening when it comes to this situation. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, but there's too many players that are just, you know, falling with this. The Wizards team was sort of damn near decimated because of this. Carl Anthony Towns was recently, tested positive of it. Um, and we're still relatively early in the season. I hope the best. I do. But I really wish that they had postponed this season until the spring at least. Um, Not to mention the fact also that these players didn't get much of a break. And I'm not trying to baby these guys at all. So that's not my thing. But sometimes I can understand why some of these players say that they actually have to seek the counsel of psychologists because of the pressures that they have to deal with. It's different. Um, it's a different type of pressure that they got to deal with as opposed to the older generation. And when I say pressure, yeah, these guys make a lot of money, but they have a different pressure when it comes to social media, uh, when it comes to their relationship with fans. Fans really have a hate love relationship with players now rather than love, a little hate before. Um, these guys have to deal with a lot of criminal. How can I say this? Sometimes these guys have to deal with things that we don't have to deal with, which is safety issues uh, to their lives, to their families, plots, uh, extortion type situations, kidnapping, robbing. These guys are always in danger of that shit, man. You know, let alone what's going on right now. They travel a lot. It's just a recipe for disaster, honestly. Even though I know they're trying to cut down on travel, having these guys play in the same cities. A lot of these cities that they're playing in are being ravaged by you know what. So at the end of the day, man, I just hope for the best. Um, but I think that they should have stayed in the bubble. But tell me what you got.